tour the cruise ports, the Amazon.
Amazon, Table of Contents. Dr. Sydney Soclof. drsidney22@gmail.com. 2022.
Narration by Dr. Sydney Soclof,
Zoe Phonemes,
and Nathan Koltove. For a more complete discussion of YouTube navigation, please go to this video using the link at the last chapter. Chapter 1. Introduction. The Amazon River.
In Portuguese and Spanish, the river is called Amazonas.
Because of its vast dimensions, the Amazon is sometimes called the River Sea, or Rio Mar in Portuguese, and at no point is it crossed by bridges.
The Amazon forest is one of the largest remaining continuous tracts of nature in the world. The biodiversity of the forest is one of the richest on Earth. Measured by length, the Amazon River is the second in the world, after the Nile, in Egypt. We see that the Amazon at 4,000 miles is just a small amount shorter than the Nile. Indeed, by some measurements of river length there are claims that the Amazon is longer than the Nile.
This is a continuation of the list of the world's longest rivers.
Brazil has the world's largest forest, the Amazon rainforest. It occupies 40% of the total area of Brazil.
The Amazon rainforest extends over an area that is 10 times the size of France. The Amazon rainforest has 1/10 of the world's 10 million living species.
The biodiversity within the rainforest is extraordinary. The region is home to at least 2.5 million insect species, tens of thousands of plants, and some 2,000 birds and mammals. 1/5 of all the world's species of birds can be found in the Amazon rainforest. The diversity of plant species in the Amazon basin is the highest on Earth. The Amazon rainforest begins from the eastern edge of the Andes. It is the largest rainforest in the world.
It is of great ecological significance, as its biomass is capable of absorbing enormous amounts of carbon dioxide.
Conservation of the Amazon rainforest has been a major issue in recent years. The major river of Brazil is the Amazon, or Rio Amazonas in Portuguese.
The Amazon flows eastward through South America, from the confluence of its Andean headstreams near Iquitos, Peru, to its mouth at the Atlantic Ocean north of Manaus Island in Brazil. The Amazon begins high in the Peruvian Andes as a thin sheet of crystal water flowing down the side of a rock wall.
By the time its journey ends in the Atlantic Ocean, it has become the world's largest river by volume, and possibly the longest.
The Amazon is navigable for almost its entire length and provides an important commercial route through the continent. The main river varies between 1 and 6 miles in width. It is navigable for large ocean-going ships to Manaus, 930 miles upriver from the mouth. The Amazon proper is navigable to ocean liners of virtually any tonnage for 2/3 of its course. Transatlantic ships call regularly at Manaus, nearly 1,000 miles upstream.
Smaller ships can reach Iquitos in Peru, 2,300 miles from the sea. That's the farthest point from sea of any port serving ocean traffic. Smaller river boats can reach 485 miles further. River steamers of smaller size can navigate on more than 100 of the larger tributaries.
The total length of the river from Iquitos, Peru to its mouth at the Atlantic Ocean is 4,080 miles, or 6,570 kilometers.
The Amazon carries a greater volume of water than any other river in the world. By volume of water, nothing comes close to the Amazon.
The average flow of London's River Thames during one year is equivalent to the Amazon flow in just one day.
Although the Nile is slightly longer than the Amazon, we see that the flow of water from the Amazon is about 43 times larger than that of the Nile. The flow of water from the Amazon is about 13 times larger than that of the Mississippi and Missouri River system, which drains about 1/3 of the U.S.
The flow of water from the Amazon is about 22 times larger than that of the flow out from the 5 Great Lakes of the U.S.
Finally, the flow of water from the Amazon is a whopping 94 times larger than that of the Rhine.
It is estimated that the Amazon alone pours 1/4 of all the fresh water into the oceans of the world. The flow of the Amazon is 12 times that of the Mississippi River. The Amazon River extends over 9 South American countries: Brazil, Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, French Guiana and Suriname.
The Amazon has over 1,000 tributaries in total, 17 of which are over 1,000 miles.
The Amazon drains 40% of South America, gathering its waters from 5 degrees north latitude to 20 degrees south latitude.
The most remote sources of the Amazon are found on the Inter-Andean Plateau, just a short distance from the Pacific Ocean.
The Amazon River has the biggest drainage basin in the world. 60% of the total Amazon River is in Brazil. The rainforest is supported by the extremely wet climate of the Amazon basin.
The Amazon, and its hundreds of tributaries, flow slowly across the landscape, with an extremely shallow gradient sending them towards the sea. Manaus, 1,000 miles, 1,600 kilometers, from the Atlantic, is only 144 feet, 44 meters, above sea level.
The Amazon is navigable for almost its entire length and provides an important commercial route through the continent.
The main river, which is between approximately 1 and 6 miles wide, is navigable for large ocean-going ships to Manaus. 930 miles, 1,500 kilometers, upriver from its mouth at the Atlantic Ocean.
River steamers of more modest tonnage can navigate on more than 100 of the larger tributaries. Smaller ocean vessels of 3,000 tons and 18 feet, 5.5 meters, draft can reach as far as Iquitos, Peru, 2,240 miles or 3,600 kilometers from the sea.
That's the farthest point from sea of any port serving ocean traffic.
Smaller river boats can reach 485 miles, 780 kilometers, higher as far as the Pongo de Mansourish Gorge in northwest Peru. That is less than 200 miles from the Pacific Ocean. Small river steamers can navigate on more than 100 of the larger tributaries of the Amazon. The Amazon River is the largest river in the world by volume, with a total river flow greater than the next top 10 largest rivers flowing into the ocean combined. Because of its vast dimensions, the Amazon is sometimes called the River Sea, o Rio Mar in Portuguese, and at no point is it crossed by bridges. Offshore of the mouth of the Amazon, potable water can be drawn from the ocean while still out of sight of the coastline, and the salinity of the ocean is notably lower at 200 miles, 320 kilometers, out to sea.
This area near the mouth of the Amazon is sometimes called a freshwater sea.
The Amazon drains an area of some 2,670,000 square miles, 7 million square kilometers, or some 40% of South America.
The Amazon gathers its waters from 5 degrees north to 20 degrees south latitude.
The average annual rainfall in the Amazon region is 79 inches or 2 meters, making it the wettest region in the world. Heavy rains drench much of the densely forested lowland region throughout the year, but especially from January to June.
The area covered by the waters of the Amazon and its tributaries more than triples over the course of a year.
In an average dry season, 42,000 square miles, 110,000 square kilometers, of land are water covered. While in the wet season the flooded area of the Amazon basin rises by a factor of 3 to 135,000 square miles, 350,000 square kilometers.
At its widest point, the Amazon River can be 7 miles, 11 kilometers, wide during the dry season.
But during the rainy season, when the Amazon floods the surrounding plains, it can be up to 28 miles, 45 kilometers, wide. To drain the vast mass of water, the Amazon has carved a deep bed in the plain through which it flows.
In one area, near Abadosh, the bed is more than 300 feet, 91 meters, below the average surface level of its water.
Because of its vastness, annual floods, and navigability, the Amazon is often called the Ocean River.
The total number of its tributaries is as yet uncounted, but more than 200 are in Brazil alone.
17 of the largest known tributaries are more than 1,000 miles, 1,600 kilometers, in length. The confluence of Rio Ucayali and Rio Marañón form Rio Amazonas, which changes its name to Solimões on the triple frontier between Peru, Colombia and Brazil,
and later changes its name back to the Amazon only after it meets Rio Negro near Manaus.
The main headstream of the Amazon River is Rio Ucayali. The Rio Ucayali rises in the Andes region of Peru and flows for 1,700 miles, 2,670 kilometers, before it joins with the Marañón and becomes the Amazon.
Chapter 2. The History of the Amazon.
In 1500, Vicente Yáñez Pinzón was the first European to sail into the Amazon River.
Pinzón called the river Rio Santa Maria de la Mar Dulce, later shortened to Mar Dulce, Sweet Sea. The mighty Amazon River is believed also to have been discovered in the 16th century, around 1541, by Spanish explorer Francisco de Orellana.
Exploration did not begin until 1541 and 1542, when an expedition led by Francisco de Orellana started down the Napo River, in what is now Ecuador, and reached the Atlantic Ocean.
Later on, Portuguese explorer Pedro Teixeira led the first upstream voyage that opened the Amazon to world knowledge. Between October 1637 and August 1638, Pedro Teixeira ascended the Amazon to the source of the Napo River and crossed the Andes to Quito, Ecuador. Later, he returned by the same route. As legend goes, Teixeira named the river Amazon because of reported encounters with wild women warriors.
which reminded him of the Greek myth about the women warriors, whose valor and war cry had a fearful effect on their adversaries. Some scholars insist that the name is derived from the Native American word Amazona, meaning boat destroyer. The Amazons in Greek mythology were a tribe of warlike women who lived in Asia Minor.
They had a matriarchal society, in which women fought and governed while men performed the household tasks. Each Amazon had to kill a man before she could marry, and all male children were either killed or maimed at birth.
It was believed that the Amazons cut off one breast in order to shoot and throw spears more effectively. They were celebrated warriors, believed to have been the first to use cavalry, and their conquests were said to have included many parts of Asia Minor, Phrygia, Thrace, and Syria.
Chapter 3. Amazon Rubber.
In 1884, Charles Goodyear discovered the vulcanization process in which the addition of sulfur to rubber makes it retain its properties at high temperatures.
In 1888, Scottish veterinarian John Boyd Dunlop invented the pneumatic tire. These two discoveries and the increased numbers of bicycles, automobiles and other vehicles produce an explosion in the demand for rubber around the turn of the 20th century.
Rubber production increased from 156 metric tons in 1830 to 21,000 tons in 1897. From 1900 to 1910, Brazil produced 88% of all of the rubber in the world.
From about 1900 to 1925, rubber exportation made Manaus, some 100 miles, 1,600 kilometers inland from the Atlantic Ocean, one of the richest cities in the world.
British-controlled production in Asia undercut Amazon prices in 1914, and the Amazon rubber production collapsed, causing Manaus to lose its prosperity and become a backwater town.
Henry Ford attempted to compete with the British by establishing two rubber plantations in 1927, Fordlandia and Bilterra.
In modern times, the Amazon has been explored by many scientific expeditions, including that led by former American President Theodore Roosevelt in 1914, and others sponsored by the National Geographic Society and the government of Brazil. Despite centuries of effort to overcome the dominance of nature, people have made little impact on the Amazon and most of its vast drainage basin.
No bridge spans the river, except near its mouth. The Amazon watershed constitutes one of the most thinly populated regions in the world. Much of the territory drained by the river system has never been thoroughly explored.
One may fly for hours over the tropical forests that cover much of the river's floodplain and see no sign of human settlement.
In many stream valleys, Native American tribes hostile to strangers continue to live much as they did before the arrival of the Europeans.
Most commerce is narrowly confined to the navigable sections of the river system, although the development of highways has improved access and goods transportation into the area.
Chapter 4. Amazon Economy and Ecology.
The economy continues to be dominated by primitive agriculture, hunting and fishing, and the gathering of various forest products. Commercial farming, tourism, and industry play no but growing roles in the region. But mining and lumbering, the principal economic activities, are increasingly important.
Large-scale development of the Amazon began in the 1980s. Such development cleared large sections of its natural forest cover. Although the forest quickly covers over cleared areas, the regrowth is not as diverse as the original cover. This decline in diversity affects both animal life and the human population, as animals and plants on which they depend become rare or extinct and available land becomes scarce.
After the area gained the attention of international conservation groups, the Brazilian government made efforts to monitor development and protect the Amazon's forest resources.
However, the environmental effects of development and deforestation continue to be difficult issues as the region is developed.
4 centuries after the European discovery of the Amazon River, the total cultivated area in its basin was probably less than 25 square miles, 65 square kilometers. This excludes the limited and crudely cultivated areas among the mountains at its extreme headwaters. This situation changed dramatically during the 20th century. Why is the Brazilian Amazon being destroyed? These are the causes of deforestation in the Amazon in recent years.
Between 2002 and 2006, an area of the Amazon rainforest equivalent in size to the state of South Carolina was completely deforested for the purposes of raising cattle and wood logging. By the year 2020, at least 50% of the species resident in Brazil may become extinct. Wary of foreign exploitation of the nation's resources, Brazilian governments in the 1940s set out to develop the interior, away from the seaboard where foreigners owned large tracts of land.
The original architect of this expansion was President Getúlio Vargas. The demand for rubber from the Allied forces in World War II provided funding for the drive.
The construction of the new capital Brasilia in the interior in 1960 also contributed to the opening up of the Amazon basin. A large-scale colonization program saw families from northeastern Brazil relocated it to the forests, encouraged by promises of cheap land. Many settlements grew along the road from Brasilia to Belém, but rainforest soil proved difficult to cultivate. Still, long-term development plans continued. Roads were cut through the forests, and in 1970, the work on the Trans-Amazon Highway network began. The network's 3 pioneering highways were completed within 10 years, connecting all the major cities of the Brazilian Amazon interior.
This is a view of part of the Trans-Amazon Highway network.
Chapter 5. Some amazing Amazon facts.
Amazon is the largest river basin in the world. It is about 4,195 miles long, covering an area of 2,700,000 square miles, including its 15,000 tributaries. It originates in the Peruvian Andes and is fed by over 15,000 tributaries. Its mouth is more than 250 miles long. Its width ranges from 1 to 35 miles. Its depth is over 150 feet, and near the mouth goes up to 300 feet.
The Amazon produces about 20% of all the water that the world's rivers pour into the ocean. It provides 24,000 kilometers of trunk waterway. Ocean-going ships can penetrate up a distance equivalent to crossing the North Atlantic. The Amazon rainforest is believed to be the oldest tropical forest in the world, perhaps as much as 100 million years. The Amazon rainforest extends over 5 million square kilometers, 10 times the size of France.
The largest tropical rainforest on Earth, Amazonia, the geographical area surrounding the Amazon River and its tributaries, with an extension of more than 2 million square miles. This vast region includes part of Peru, Venezuela, Colombia, Bolivia, Suriname, French Guiana, Guyana and a large part of Brazil, and is responsible for 50% of the renovated oxygen on Earth. It's filled with the most exuberant flora and fauna known to man. Its mightiest river, Amazon, is 4,080 miles long, second only to the Nile. It originates in tiny streams on the Peruvian Andes and fed by over 15,000 tributaries along the way, before discharging at the Atlantic Ocean.
The largest mammal is the manatee, which can weigh up to 500 kilograms. Another famous mammal is the Amazon pink river dolphin, the biggest freshwater fish in the world, Arapima or Pirarucu, which is up to 15 feet, 4 meters, long and weighs 440 pounds, 200 kilograms. The smallest monkey, the sago or pygmy marmoset, is only 15 centimeters in length and 100 grams in weight. One of the most curious plants is the moonflower that opens up every few years for one night only. Chapter 6. The climate of the Amazon region. Temperatures of the Amazon. Chapter 7. Temperatures of the Amazon. Will it be hot in the Amazon? Or will it be very hot? Here are the average high and low temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit throughout the year in Belém.
Here are the average high and low temperatures in degrees Celsius throughout the year in Belém.
Here are the average high and low temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit throughout the year in Manaus.
Here are the average high and low temperatures in degrees Celsius throughout the year in Manaus.
Here are the average high and low temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit throughout the year in Fortaleza. Here are the average high and low temperatures in degrees Celsius throughout the year in Fortaleza.
Here are the average high and low temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit throughout the year in Rio de Janeiro.
Here are the average high and low temperatures in degrees Celsius throughout the year in Rio de Janeiro.
Chapter 8. Amazon Rainfall. Here is the annual rainfall map of the world. We see that the Amazonas is one of the wettest spots in Earth.
This is the annual rainfall map of the world. Note the very high rainfall in the Amazon region.
We see that the principal vegetation throughout the Amazon basin is the tropical rainforest.
Here is the rainfall throughout the year in Belém in inches. The yearly total is 110 inches. We see that the rainy season is in the months of December through May. Here is the rainfall throughout the year in Belém in centimeters. The yearly total is 279 centimeters. We see that the rainy season is in the months of December through May.
Here is the rainfall throughout the year in Manaus in inches. The yearly total is 82 inches. We see that the rainy season is in the months of November through May.
Here is the rainfall throughout the year in Manaus in centimeters. The yearly total is 209 centimeters. We see that the rainy season is in the months of November through May.
Here is the rainfall throughout the year in Fortaleza in inches. The yearly total is 58 inches. We see that the rainy season is in the months of January through June.
Here is the rainfall throughout the year in Fortaleza in centimeters. The yearly total is 146 centimeters. We see that the rainy season is in the months of January through June.
Here is the rainfall throughout the year in Rio de Janeiro in inches. The yearly total is 43 inches. We see that the rainy season is in the months of October through May.
Here is the rainfall throughout the year in Rio de Janeiro in centimeters. The yearly total is 109 centimeters. We see that the rainy season is in the months of October through May.
Chapter 9. Why does it rain so much in the Amazon?
The solar energy received by the Earth is much greater in the tropics near the equator than at the high latitudes in the polar regions.
The rotation of the Earth causes the winds to be deflected from a straight north and south direction, as shown here for the case of the Hadley cell closest to the equator. There, the winds are deflected to the west. This produces the northeast trade winds in the northern hemisphere and the southeast trade winds in the southern hemisphere. It is these trade winds are a major factor in producing the westward flowing north and south equatorial currents.
This shows the northeast trade winds in the northern hemisphere and the southeast trade winds in the southern hemisphere. Water evaporates over the Atlantic Ocean, producing moist rising air that flows westward over South America. As the air rises, the moisture cools and condenses into clouds. As the air reaches the high Andes, it is forced upward.
This again shows the northeast trade winds in the northern hemisphere and the southeast trade winds in the southern hemisphere and the latitude range of 30 degrees north and south of the equator. The surface winds from the Hadley cells in the 30 degree to 60 degrees latitude region flow out from the equator toward the poles and are deflected by the Earth's rotation to the east. Since they are flowing from the west, they are called westerly winds. Thus, we have both the trade winds and the westerlies in both the northern hemisphere and southern hemispheres.
Chapter 10. Amazon Culture Area. The Amazon Basin Culture Area is defined by the Amazon River and its tributaries, which flow through a huge area of tropical rainforest. Major cultures present in this area at the time of European contact included the Tapages, Omagua, and Tupinambi. Today, the Anomami and Shura are well-known native groups of the Amazon.
Chapter 11. Amazon Video. We will next have a short video clip on the mighty Amazon.
The rise of the Andes created whole new environments within the mountains, but it also had more far-reaching effects. This great barrier changed the climate of South America. It also redrew the map of the entire continent, radically altering the course of its major rivers. The Iguazu Falls are one of the wonders of the world. 4 times as wide as Niagara, they carry 60,000 tons of water a second. Part of Amazonia was once a huge swamp, connected to the Pacific and the Caribbean. The rise of the Andes broke those links, forcing the major rivers to flow east. One massive river now drains 40% of South America, the Amazon. This is the mightiest river on Earth. Running over 4,000 miles from the Andes to the ocean, it carries a fifth of all the river water on the planet. A 1,000 miles before it reaches the sea, its main channel is already 10 miles wide. Every year, the mighty Amazon bursts its banks, flooding an area of forest the size of England. At the height of the flood, the trees can stand in water 10 meters deep. The floodwaters bring with them the animals of the river, like Boto dolphins. Their origins are a mystery. Could they be a relic of Amazonia's ancient links with the oceans? These river dolphins are almost blind, no handicap in water that's often very muddy, because they navigate by echolocation. Unlike marine dolphins, they have a flexible neck, so by sweeping their head from side to side, they can scan their path ahead. Their sonar is so precise that they can weave their way through a maze of submerged branches in search of fish. Whisker-like bristles on their lips help them zero in on their target.
Chapter 12. Manaus.
Manaus is the capital of the Brazilian state of Amazonas. The state of Amazonas has its name associated with the river Amazonas. The river cuts across the state, and the Amazon forest. The state is nearly entirely covered by the forest, and the forest extends to other states and countries. Amazonas is the largest Brazilian state. It is larger than Germany, France, the UK, and Italy combined. Amazonas is slightly bigger than Alaska, and bigger than California and Texas combined.
The equator crosses the northern part of the state. The climate is equatorial, very hot and very humid.
The capital and largest city of Amazonas is Manaus.
During the first few decades of the 1900s, when Brazil was the almost monopolistic producer of rubber in the world, Manaus was one of the most sophisticated cities in the world. Most of the largest buildings in Manaus, such as, for example, the Opera House, date back to this time.
This shows the location of Manaus 900 miles, 1,450 kilometers, up the Amazon River in Brazil.
Manaus is a large city and river port. The capital of the Amazonas, or state of northwestern Brazil.
Manaus is along the north bank of the Negro River, 11 miles, 18 kilometers, above that river's influx into the Amazon River.
Manaus is located on the shores of Rio Negro, just upstream from where it joins the Solimões River. Just a few miles below Manaus, the two rivers become the mighty Amazon. This is where Rio Solimões meets Rio Negro to form the Amazon River.
The Rio Solimões, being extremely muddy, and the Rio Negro, about the same size, being a black water river. do not mix for miles.
The meeting of the rivers actually looks like two separate rivers running parallel for miles.
Manaus has a population of 1.6 million. This is one of the Amazon River boats.
Manaus is quite distant from other major cities in Brazil. Manaus was founded by the Portuguese in 1669. Manaus started as a rubber trading place, and was a rubber boom town from 1890 until 1920. Before the synthetic rubber invention, in the 19th century, natural rubber trees were very valuable, and there was an ocean of them in this area. Thanks to them, the city rapidly started to grow more and more. Rubber barons wanted to build a unique and wonderful city in the heart of the rainforest, right at the least probable place someone could expect to find one. During the Amazon rubber boom, Manaus came next to be considered the Paris of the jungle.
International smugglers then took rubber tree seeds to Malaysia, and soon the Manaus rubber kingdom was over.
Within a few short years, Manaus had Brazil's first telephone system, 16 miles of streetcar tracks, and an electric grid for a city of 1 million, though it had a population of only 40,000. Vast fortunes were made by individuals, and flaunting wealth became a sport. Rubber barons lit cigars with $100 banknotes, and slaked the thirst of their horses with silver buckets of chilled French champagne. Their wives, disdainful of the muddy waters of the Amazon, sent linens to Portugal to be laundered. They ate food imported from Europe, and in the wake of opulent dinners, some costing as much as $100,000, men retired to any one of a dozen elegant bordellos. The citizens of Manaus were the highest per capita consumers of diamonds in the world.
Today, Manaus is an interesting city, although its main attraction is undoubtedly being the front door to the rainforest.
Manaus is a large and bustling city that is congested with people and traffic. While heavily congested, Manaus is also very colorful in areas. Among the exports of Manaus are rubber, Brazil nuts, timber, and the products of the surrounding rainforest.
Manaus is considered the gateway to the more adventurous parts of the Amazon, so most people use Manaus simply as a point to start their adventures.
This is the central area of Manaus.
Manaus is the economic center of the Amazonas region and houses over 50% of its population. The other 50% of the population of Amazonas come to Manaus to make their shopping trips.
Industries include petroleum refining, tourism, and the manufacture of soaps, chemicals, and processed food. This is a view of downtown Manaus. This is another view of downtown Manaus.
This is another view of downtown Manaus.
This is the São Sebastião Church in Manaus.
This is the port of Natal.
This is the Negro River. This is the Negro River.
This is the show and boats of Manaus. This is the Eduardo Gomes International Airport.
This is another view of the Eduardo Gomes International Airport. One of the main attractions in Manaus is the Teatro Amazonas, or the Opera House.
Teatro Amazonas was completed in 1896 at the height of the Ruba economy that made Manaus one of the richest cities in the world, and is absolutely spectacular. The Teatro Amazonas, or the Amazon Opera House, was built in the Opera de Paris style, and is the main architectural landmark in the city. The interior of the Manaus Opera House is reminiscent of the most opulent European structures. Virtually all of the materials for the Opera House we imported from Europe, with much attention to detail. The Opera House is on Avenida Eduardo Ribeiro next to the Cathedral of Manaus. This is a must-see attraction, and well worth the $5 entrance fee.
This is the Amazonas Theater in Manaus, the Amazon Opera House. This is another view of the Teatro Amazonas in Manaus. There are several impressive cathedrals in Manaus. This particular cathedral is just outside of the cruise terminal and is a great landmark for exploring the city. The streets to the markets, the Opera House, and other attractions all border the cathedral.
Policia Rio Negro was once the home of the rubber baron Valdemar Schultz, and is now a cultural center worth visiting. This very opulent structure was built in the early 1900s.
This is a view of Manaus.
This is the Natural Sciences Museum of Amazonas in Manaus.
This is the Ponta Negra. This is the Amazonas Shopping Center. This is the Port of Manaus. This is the Panner Port in the Educandas neighborhood, the first suburb of Manaus. This is a view of the area of Manaus near the river. This is a view of Manaus. This is the dock at Manaus along the waterfront. This is along the river bank near Manaus. The public market in Manaus is only about a 10-minute walk from the cruise terminal, and offers excellent shopping.
The main shopping streets in Manaus, also within easy walking distance of the cruise terminal, offer excellent shopping opportunities.
Manaus has an unlimited array of products for sale. It is the free trade center of Brazil, and merchants from all over the country come here to buy for their stores.
There is shopping for local products, souvenirs, clothes, jewelry, electronics. It is the electronics capital of Brazil, and many of the products.
The botanical gardens of Manaus are also of interest if you want to experience the flora and fauna of the region. In addition to the excellent display of plants, the botanical gardens also include several of the indigenous animals and reptiles of the region. The electric fish, otter and other species are fascinating. Chapter 13. Parintins is a city in the state of Amazonas. Parintins is at the eastern edge of Amazonas state.
Parintins is the second in population in Amazonas after Manaus, with a population of 110,000.
This shows the location of Parintins on the Amazon River.
Parintins is located on Tupinambarana Island in the Amazon River. Parintins is known for a popular folklore festival held for each June.
This is Parintins on the Amazon River.
This is Parintins on the Amazon River.
This is the central area of Parintins. This is a view of Parintins.
Just exploring Parintins can be fun as the residents are very friendly and parts of it are very colorful. Cruise ships dock right in downtown Parintins. It is an easy walk off the ship and into town. Most cruise ships are met by bomba dancers and a very exciting welcome that may include fireworks. The best shopping for tourists is located right outside the port. Simply walk off the ship and off of the pier and you will see a flea market selling everything under the sun.
The downtown area of Parintins offers quite a bit of shopping, but it primarily serves the locals rather than the tourists. Note that there are several pharmacies if you are in need of any medicine. This is a view of the downtown area of Parintins.
Also, the area around the floating market is quite colorful and interesting, and well worth a visit. If you are going to the folkloric presentation, you should also take a pedicab tour of the town of Parintins. It is quite inexpensive and it will give you a great lay of the land.
The tour takes you by the Bombodromo where the annual Buabambas festival is held. There is seating for 35,000 and it lasts only 3 days. This is the only purpose for the Bombodromo. The tour will also go by a very unique park, the floating market, a large church in the downtown area that fronts the river.
The Boy Bumba Folk Show is a 1-hour show with the flavor of the main festival. Extensive costumes, dancing, singing and the story of the bull is told. Chapter 14. The Amazon Delta.
This is the mouth of the Amazon and the Amazon Delta. The Amazon estuary is some 150 miles or 240 kilometers wide.
This means that by some estimates, the Amazon is wider at its mouth than the entire length of the Thames in England. Deposits have formed a maze of islands that separate the river into branches. The mouth of the main stream is 50 miles, 80 kilometers wide. The branch, known as the Rio Para, is separated by the Elia de Marjo, which has an area of more than 14,000 square miles, 36,000 square kilometers. During a new and full moon, a tidal bow, or wave front from the ocean, sweeps more than 400 miles, 650 kilometers upstream at speeds in excess of 40 miles per hour, 65 kilometers per hour.
This phenomenon can cause waves of 16 feet, 5 meters, or more in height along the banks of the river.
The bore is the reason the Amazon does not have a delta. The ocean rapidly carries away the vast volume of silt carried by the Amazon, making it impossible for a delta to grow.
It also has a very large tide, sometimes reaching 20 feet, 6 meters, and has become a popular spot for river surfing.
Chapter 15. Amazon Wildlife. The Amazon rainforest is the richest tropical forest in the world.
More than 1/3 of all species in the world live in the Amazon rainforest. Amazon fish. The Amazon River has over 3,000 recognized species of fish, and that number is still growing. Some estimates go as high as 5,000.
The waters of the Amazon support a diverse range of wildlife. Along with the Orinoco, the river is one of the main habitats of the boto, also known as the Amazon river dolphin, the largest species of river dolphin. It can grow to lengths of up to 9 feet (2.6 meters).
Also present in large numbers are the notorious piranha, carnivorous fish which congregate in large schools and may attack livestock and even humans.
Although many experts believe their reputation for ferocity is unwarranted, a school of piranha was apparently responsible for the deaths of up to 300 people when their boat capsized near Abydos in 1981. However, only a few species attack humans, and many are solely fish eaters, and do not school.
The bull shark has been reported as far as 2,220 miles, 4,000 kilometers, up the Amazon River at Iquitos in Peru. The arapaima, or pirarucu, is a South American tropical freshwater fish. It is one of the largest freshwater fish in the world, reportedly with a maximum length in excess of 9.8 feet, 3 meters, in weight up to 440 pounds, 200 kilograms. The anaconda snake is found in shallow waters in the Amazon basin.
The anaconda is one of the world's largest species of snake, and spends most of its time in the water, with just its nostrils above the surface.
Anacondas have been known to occasionally attack fishermen.
Chapter 16. Birds of the Amazon.
More than 1,500 bird species are found in the Amazon basin, while South America as a whole is home to roughly 1/3 of the world's birds.
Many birds found in the Amazon are northern or southern migrants, wintering in or passing through the rainforest at certain times of the year. One of the most well-known birds in the Amazon rainforest is the toucan. The call of the toucan is said to resemble the croak of a frog, and it can be heard up to half a mile. Although toucans are heard all the time in the Amazon, they are rarely seen because they stay mostly high in the forest canopy.
The diet of the toucan consists mainly of fruits, berries, and seeds. On average, toucans are around 60 centimeters long.
After much intense research by many different scientists, the function of the toucan's large bill is a mystery.
Toucans are known to easily adapt to human-invaded environments. They are often seen as pets in homes or at tourist attractions.
The macaw is the largest bird in the tropical regions. Most range from 35 to 50 inches long. The diet of the macaw usually includes tropical fruits, nuts, plants, insects, and even snails. Another thing the macaw eats is red clay on riverbanks.
Although scientists are unsure why they do this, some believe it is to obtain needed minerals or to detoxify poisons from the plants they eat. An interesting fact about the macaw is that when one macaw finds a mate, it stays with that mate until one of them dies.
Although the macaw is known to mimic human speech, in the wild they have loud, ear-piercing voices. These birds are also believed to communicate very well within their species.
The squirrel monkey is the most abundant monkey in the Amazon rainforest. Squirrel monkeys stick together in groups of around 20 to 100.
These monkeys are often found near large bodies of water. Adult squirrel monkeys weigh anywhere from 500 to 1,000 grams.
The diet of this monkey consists of fruits, insects, and sometimes flowey nectar. The squirrel monkey is active both at night and during the day.
Although most of the water a squirrel monkey needs is obtained from the food it eats, the monkey also obtains water by drinking it from holes in trees or puddles on the ground. The Brazilian tapir spends most of its time near water. This tapir is a great swimmer and diver in addition. The tapir can run fairly fast on land. Tapirs are most active at night. The Brazilian tapirs can weigh over 500 pounds and reach about 7 feet or 2.5 meters long. The Amazon rainforest caiman is a very large reptile, often reaching 4 meters long. The name of this species comes from the bony ridges across its snout. The caiman is nocturnal, like many of the animals in the Amazon. It lives in fresh water, such as the lakes and rivers around the Amazon rainforest.
The caiman's diet consists of fish, reptiles, and mammals, such as the capybara. Juveniles eat mainly invertebrates, crustaceans, terrestrial invertebrates such as Coleoptera.
Whereas adults include a greater proportion of fish in their diets in addition to a variety of aquatic, for example, crabs, mollusks, shrimps, and terrestrial invertebrates.
Chapter 17. Cruises on the Amazon River.
There are cruises on the Amazon River all of the way up to Manaus. An example is the Viking Ocean Cruises, Amazon and Caribbean adventure of 13 days, on the Viking Sea from San Juan, Puerto Rico to Manaus.
We will next have some short video clips of cruises on the Amazon River.
This is Amazon and Caribbean adventure itinerary on Viking.
Then your Viking ship enters the estuary of the Amazon to explore the heart of the world's most famous river. Your first stop is Santarém, where European colonial influences and native Tapahuara culture make for a fascinating visit. Further upriver in Parintins, you'll be introduced to the indigenous culture and their traditional music. Your journey concludes in Manaus, the largest city on the Amazon. With a 2-night stay, you'll have plenty of time to enjoy its many wonders.
Chapter 18. Recommended videos, Amazon.
Recommended video, Mighty Amazon, 3 minutes, 41 seconds.
Amazon, Table of Contents. To play or pause the video, select the appropriate icon, or press the K key or the space bar.
The right and left arrow keys will advance or retard the video by 5 seconds, respectively, in both the play and pause modes.
If you see this in the upper right corner of the video, and you select the left mouse button, it will give you a list of recommended videos or a playlist of related videos. If you select this arrow and then exit the full screen, you will see a display of the chapters like this example. This is the listing of the first 6 chapters, and by scrolling down, you can see the rest of the chapters.
For a more complete discussion of YouTube navigation, please go to this video using the link here.
Thanks for watching.